He climbed the same 3 wooden steps every morning at exactly 6:15. He did it for 1,464 days. That is 4 years, 4 winters, 4 springs. Rain, snow, heat, none of it ever mattered. The neighbors on Halden Road called him the waiting cat. Nobody ever knew what he was waiting for. His name was Rufus, 9 years old, orange tabby, 15 pounds, with a small white patch under his chin. The house behind those steps had been empty since the spring of 2021. The windows were dark, the mailbox was full, wild grass had swallowed the bottom of the porch, and still, every single morning, Rufus climbed those steps and sat down facing the road. He never tried to go inside. He couldn't. He just sat there, tail wrapped tight around his paws, staring at the corner where the road bends, waiting. For 4 years, not one person stopped to ask why. Before the house went quiet, it belonged to a man named Walter Brennan. Walter was 81, a retired mail carrier, 42 years of walking the same 6 streets in the same brown shoes. His wife had died in 2015. His son lived 900 miles away and called twice a year. So Walter's mornings were his own. Coffee at 6, newspaper at 6:10, front steps at 6:15. That was the whole schedule, that was the whole life. And in the summer of 2017, something small and starving crawled under his porch and refused to leave. Walter heard it crying for 3 nights before he crouched down with a flashlight. What looked back at him was a kitten the color of rust, thin enough to count every rib. Walter was not a cat person. He said so out loud while he was warming milk on the stove. He named him Rufus anyway. They fell into a rhythm the way old men and stubborn animals do. 6 o'clock, Walter poured coffee. Rufus jumped onto the counter and was told to get down. 6:10, Walter read the paper out loud because the house was too quiet otherwise. 6:15, they went out to the front steps together. Walter sat on the second step. Rufus sat on the third, 1 step higher, watching the road with him. They did that for almost 4 years, every morning. The same steps, the same road, the same silence that never once felt lonely. Then came a Tuesday in March. Walter did not get up at 6. He did not pour coffee. He did not read the paper. Rufus waited by the bedroom door until the light through the hallway turned gray. The ambulance came at 8:40 in the morning. 2 paramedics carried Walter out on a stretcher, and a neighbor propped the front door open with a shoe. Rufus followed them all the way down the walkway. He stopped at the sidewalk because Walter had taught him never to go past the sidewalk. He watched the ambulance turn the corner where the road bends, and then he went back and sat on the 3rd step. Walter died 4 days later in a hospital 11 miles away. He was 81 years old. Rufus did not know that. Nobody told him. Nobody could. I know this part is heavy. Stay with me because the ending is worth it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. These are the stories nobody else tells. The house was locked in April. The son came for 1 weekend, took 2 boxes, and flew home. Somebody left a bowl of dry food on the porch for a week. Then they stopped. Rufus survived the way orange cats survive. Mice in the alley, rain in the gutter, a crawl space under the neighbor's shed. But every morning at 6:15, he went back. Winter came. He sat on the steps with snow on his back and did not move. Summer came. He sat on the steps in 90-degree heat with his sides heaving. The neighbors got used to him the way people get used to a mailbox. He became furniture. He became scenery. Some of them left food. Most of them just drove past. Children waved at him from school buses. Nobody ever stopped a bus. 4 years is a long time to be visible and invisible at the same time. Then, on a Thursday morning in April, a car slowed down on Halden Road. Margaret Ellis was 58, a hospice nurse coming off a 12-hour night shift. She had driven that road maybe 200 times. But that morning, the light hit the steps in a certain way, and she finally actually looked. An old orange cat, sitting perfectly straight, facing an empty road in front of an empty house. Margaret pulled over. She did not get out. She just watched him for 11 minutes. He never turned his head, not once. Something about that stillness undid her completely. She had spent 30 years sitting beside people in their last hours. She knew what waiting looked like, and this was waiting. She knocked on 3 doors before someone gave her the story. Old man Brennan died in 2021. Yeah, that's his cat. He's been out there ever since. Margaret asked the question nobody had thought to ask in 4 years. Has anyone tried to take him home? The neighbor shrugged and said, "He won't go. People have tried. He always comes back to those steps." It took Margaret 9 days. She came every morning at 6:15 with a paper plate of warm chicken. She sat on the bottom step and said nothing. Day 1, he moved to the far edge of the porch. Day 4, he stayed put and watched her. Day 7, he ate while she was still sitting there. Day 9, he walked down 2 steps and pressed his head into her open hand. He was 15 pounds of tired, matted 9-year-old orange cat, and he was shaking. Margaret took him home that afternoon. If your chest is tight right now, you're not the only one. Here is the part I think about the most. For the first 3 nights in Margaret's house, Rufus did not sleep. He sat at the front window from 5 a.m. until well after 7, watching a road he had never seen before. He was still doing the only job he had ever been given. So, on the 4th day, Margaret drove back to Halden Road with a crowbar in her trunk. She unscrewed 3 weathered wooden steps from an abandoned porch and loaded them into her car. Her son asked her what on earth she was doing. She said, "I'm bringing him the place where he was loved." She rebuilt those 3 steps against her own back porch, facing her own quiet garden. The next morning at 6:15, Rufus went outside, climbed them, and sat down on the 3rd one. Margaret sat on the 2nd with her coffee and read the newspaper out loud. And after a few minutes, he did something he had not done in 4 years. He lay down, slowly, carefully, like a man finally setting down something heavy. He stopped watching the road, he put his chin on his paws, closed his amber eyes, and slept in the sun. Rufus is 11 now. He sleeps at the foot of Margaret's bed every night. He still goes out at 6:15, he still climbs his 3 steps. But now he isn't waiting anymore. Now he's just remembering. We talk about loyalty like it's something dogs invented. It isn't. Loyalty is a 9-year-old orange cat sitting in the snow in front of a locked door because the man inside was kind to him once. Nobody wanted Rufus. He was old, he was overweight, he was scarred, and he came with 4 years of grief attached. And he turned out to be the most faithful heart on that entire street. If you're thinking about adopting, please walk past the kittens for 1 minute. Look at the old ones, the quiet ones, the ones in the back. Because the cats nobody wants are almost always the ones who love the hardest. So tell me honestly, was Rufus waiting out of love, or was it only habit? Say what you really think in the comments.